from Redwood Falls?
Yes, Redwood Falls. Grew up in Redwood and graduated from high school there. And parents still live there, and my in-laws still live there. My wife's from there as well. So,
How long have you been president of Community Bank?
since November,
Okay.
started in November.
Give us a little background about where you've been as far as your career in banking and finance and what led to this.
Sure. So I started up in St. Paul at a bank called University Bank, is what it was called at that time, and then it transformed into Sunrise Banks. And worked there for about 10 years, and then kind of got to a point where just decided that we have two young children, and decided we'd like to raise our kids in a smaller town, and being my wife and I both from the same hometown in a smaller town, population of 5,000 in Redwood, thought, well, maybe it'd be nice to try a smaller town, and have heard nothing but great things about Owatonna, and I thought it might be a great opportunity.
And I would guess in most cases, a young man in high school doesn't say, "I'm going to go to college and become a banker." I mean, you had other plans. How did you wind up? What were your original plans? How did you
Yeah,
end
I
up
was actually a computer science major, as a matter of fact, in college, and probably about 3 years in, I thought, this programming computer is not really for me. So tried to think about other opportunities and other lines of work. Well, it so happens my dad's in banking, my grandfather was in banking, my uncle's in banking, and kind of decided, well, maybe that might be a path for me, and went and met with the owner of what was University Bank at the time, and said, let's just talk about this banking thing a little bit. And he said, yeah, why don't you come aboard and give it a try? And kind of enjoyed it ever since.
Where were your dad, your grandpa, and your uncle? Where were they bankers? Redwood or
Tyler, Minnesota is where my grandfather owned a bank, which my uncle owns now in Tyler. And my dad is the CEO of Hometown Bank in Redwood Falls.
okay? Well, that helps a lot, I guess, if you get influence from your family and stuff like that. What are the things that you like about being in banking? I mean, there are certain things you. I really like this part of the job most of all.
Yeah, I think that, being that computer science major, there's a piece of banking that is sort of behind the computer and its analysis and its numbers and that kind of thing. And I enjoy that part. But what I realized is that I really also enjoy talking to people, meeting with people, and hearing about their business. I kind of have a curiosity about different businesses. Manufacturing is big in Owatonna, so it's been really interesting to see all these different businesses here. So I really enjoy that part, getting out and talking to people and going and touring their business, seeing all these different machines and ideas and things I didn't even know existed. So that's been really fun, and that's probably the best part of the job, is to get out from behind that desk.
And you would think folks would know this, but I don't. I bet you a lot of folks don't. What does a president of a bank do? You mentioned a lot of visiting, but like, what's your primary duty? You hire, you fire, you make what kind of policy? What does the president do?
Yeah, you hope you don't have to do much firing. You do some hiring, I suppose, but we do. Essentially, it's trying to grow the loans of the bank. Meet with people and see what they'd like to do, and but also kind of manage the operations of the bank as well. And so banks obviously taking deposits from customers, and those deposits either go into loans or investments. So there's a portion of it that's managing investments too. So it's a big, diverse sort of job that has a lot of different pieces to it. And quite frankly, I'm still learning it, but that's kind of encompassed most of it.
Are there parts of being a bank president that maybe aren't quite as attractive as others? Do you want to mention it or not?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on the person, I suppose. But there's always those. Of any job, there's always a downside to it. But I guess I can't think any off the top of my head. I suppose if you ask me in a year or so, I might know a little bit more
Oh, okay.
about what that might be. But
If you I don't know or your kids, if they say, "Dad, I think I want to get into banking," what kind of advice would you give them as far as setting up a career path? Would you have them get a different degree than say computer science like you had? Or what would you tell them?
yeah, I'd probably, if you wanted to do banking, I'd say get a business finance degree. That'll probably really set you up for it, so that you understand accounting and business and all that, because that's really who you need to understand and help as you're going along in the banking career. But my daughter's almost 3 and the other one's 1, so we'll kind of see where it takes
That
them.
might be a
But
while yet.
yeah, it might be a while. But I'd encourage them to do it. I mean, if you're a people person, it's a great line of work.
Mhm. What are some of the? We'll just talk about the bank a little bit too. We're talking to Bryan Toft, the new president at Community Bank Owatonna. We obviously, savings, loans. Are there some other things that folks might not be completely aware of? That I can do that at Community Bank Owatonna. Are there some things like that, services and such?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that people don't really know that we offer is if you're a business and you take credit cards, we actually partner with a company that we can help you take credit cards, for example, merchant processing. So people might not know that that's a service that we potentially offer. And some of the other things we're thinking about getting into is mobile banking. It kind of is something that people are talking about a lot, and doing some banking on your cell phone, potentially even having an app. I mean, that seems to be things people are thinking about. We don't have that yet, but it's something we're looking into, and that might be the future here.
Do you think someday we're going to see no such thing as a checkbook? They all be debit cards or not?
I think in the business world, there's still
Mm-hmm.
lots of checks.
Okay.
So I think that that's going to stay for quite a long time. But it definitely, a lot of things are trying to go electronic. But people still like that paper too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about from a business standpoint because I'm not a business owner. See, I learned a little something like that. Anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself or about Community Bank Owatonna as we come to a close, Bryan?
Well, I guess I just like to say that I'm excited to be here in Owatonna. My wife and I are both excited to be here, and I got to say everybody that we've met and been introduced to have just been friendliest people you'll ever meet. So, like I said, we heard great things before we came, and it's just been great, and we're really excited to see where the bank goes from here. So.
Okay. And that's our talk of the town for today here on AM 1590 KRFO.